So you can run it as more of a wall breaker variant. You can even make a specific set able to deal with specific walls that most would normally wall it, or you can just go with the sweeper set, which is a really cool set with the agility variant. So it has already quite a lot of options offensively, but then defensively. So you may think, defensively, I saw the stats, was that all that great? So first of all, we look at the defensive typing. It's not very, its defensive typing makes that fire and rock are super effective. Especially rock is kind of annoying, as previously mentioned. Its defensive capabilities really depends on if rocks are on the field or not. Because if you switch in and you're at 100% or 75%, that's a huge difference. But this typing is resist, electric, grass, fighting and steel. Especially electric and fighting is really great because those two are really great offensive typings, especially in league format. Electric typing, you can kind of deal with them. I would not specifically say wall, because they can volt switch out on you, so they can still grab some momentum. But the resist against fighting is really great, and as you will see, even against grass and steel can come in really nicely. So first I wanted to show you some bulky sets that I suggest, that I just put up there on the fly. Those are definitely not definite sets, because we are talking about league format. You can change everything to your liking every week. So those sets you can see here. The first set is just a max HP and max defense bolt, or max HP, max special defense call. It just depends on what mon do you want to wall / counter. Do you want a physical mon? You go with the defensive set, or with the otherwise with the SPDEF set. What kind of moves would you run? You could run Volt Switch or T-Bolt if you want it. If you want some more damage, if you want some initiative, Bug Buzz as your stab. If you really want to hit the opposing mon hard, Roost for the longevity, that's really important here. And then Thunder Wave or Toxic, if you want to put them on a timer, you can Toxic them. If they are really fast offensive threats, you might want to Thunder Wave them. And then the other variant is more like a roll Electros, really fulfills nicely in league format, and that's the Assault Vest variant. The Assault variant can run with max HP and max special attack modest. That's like the most common Assault Vest. You can even run like a defensive Assault Vest variant, so you can take hits on both sides of the spectra. Keep in mind you can't run things like Roost, Thunder Wave, Toxic with an Assault Vest variant, so most likely you'll run Volt Switch, dual stabs, and then Energy Ball or Flash Cannon as your coverage. So those two that are some of the defensive sets you're most likely going to run. So now you may wonder, okay, you've listed some defensive options, that's cool and all, but what kind of mons would you be able to deal with? Because you have 77 HP, 90 defense, that's kind of decent, but also kind of not that great. And SPDEF 75, the same. But let me show you something, guys. Megalopony. Megalopony is one of the main threats. A really nice revenge killer, a really nice late game sweep, cleaner, and yeah, really a big threat in league format. I think everyone has acknowledged it. And look here, guys, this is the calc for an adamant Megalopony. Keep in mind, her jump kick is resisted, so it does less than return. This is the return calc against a max HP, max defensive Vikavolt. That's not even a 2-hit KO. That's a 3-hit KO even after leftovers, even without leftovers. You are just not too solid. So that's really, really great. So you're able to deal with Megalopony. So I must say that's quite an accomplishment. Okay, there's one thing I have a bit overlooked. Leftovers is the suggested item on the bulky set, but if you look at this, for example, for this occasion, you don't really need the leftovers to be able to take 2 hits. One of the items then what I would most likely run, and that's not specific for Lopany, but that is for mons that you will see later on, but also just in general, that's a resist berry. That can be an Oka berry, but most of the time this will be a Charlie berry, because Charlie berry reduces rock type super effective moves by half, and you will see in the next slide against some other fighting types you might really want this / need it. So one of the other fighting types that there are that you can kind of deal with are Lucario, Keldeo, Mega Medicham, Heracross. First I will mention Heracross because Heracross can learn Stone, so something like a Charlie berry with Air Slash is really nice, because you can take the Stone Edge, shoot the Charlie berry, and one it KO'd with Air Slash. Also, from the damage output, you deal with Heracross, but because Mega Horn is not resisted by you, if he runs a boosting item with Mega Horn, this can still be a 2-shot, but if he's a non-boosting item or a Scarfed one, for example, you can deal with it. Then you see there a Keldeo. That's the same. If it's a non-boosting item Keldeo, you resist its fighting stab, and with the right SPDF investment you are able to take 2 Hydro Bombs from the Keldeo. So that's really cool. Then the other 2 mons you see here are really big threats in League format, especially Mega Medicham, really great wall break, and Lucario, really great sweeper. So Lucario, you resist Steel and you resist fighting, so you resist both stabs. Also, Life Up Rock Slide, you are able to take 2. So this does mean that you can reliably check Lucario. You can run like HP Ground or something for it. You can also just run Thunderbolt, does even more. So Lucario you are nicely able to deal with, and there are not many mons that can deal with Lucario quite as nicely as Vikavolt can. Then Mega Medicham, you may think, okay, is he out of his mind? Mega Medicham hits like a truck. Mega Medicham hits like a truck. You resist high jump kick, but if Mega Medicham, which quite often, more than not, has like 4 moveset syndrome, it might look at your team and sees, okay, those threats, I really want Fake Out, Bullet Punch, High Jump Kick, Silent Bird, that looks great. So he might overlook the Vikavolt and run not something like Rock Slide or Fire Punch, which would hurt you quite nicely, but if he only runs that with Silent Bird, max attack, Medicham, Mega Medicham has a 20% chance to 2-shot you after leftovers recovery. So that's quite nicely, because Bug Buzz does a shit ton back to it. So that's really cool that you're able to deal with Mega Medicham in a way. So I found those some really cool examples. You might not deal with every variant, but in the same goes for their way. You can deal with some variants, and that might be enough for the specific matchup that you want. So we have covered fighting types, but there are more resists, one of them being electric. Keep in mind that electric types can always volt switch out on you, but one electric type I found really interesting that you can quite nicely deal with is Thunderous Eye. So why do I cover Thunderous Eye and not Thunderous T? For 2 main reasons. One, Thunderous T has Volt Absorb, so you can't really hit it that hard back, because Thunderous Eye you can really hit hard back with Thunderbolt. For Thunderous T you have to run HP Ice already, and Thunderous T has more special attack. So you can see here some calcs. Most of the time you don't have a modest nature on your Thunderous because of the speed there of 111 it's in. So a max special attack Life Up Thunderous Thunderbolt is a possible 5-hit KO after leftovers recovery. Vikavolt, if you run max, it just the Thunderbolts are doing nothing. Even after a nasty plot you can almost take 2, so that's really great, and you hit it really hard with Thunderbolt. I think it does around 70%, even non-invested due to the high special attack stat. That's so great about Vikavolt. And then if it runs the coverage for Vikavolt in HP Fire or Incinerate, it has the same base power. As you can see, it doesn't even 2-shot you. Even now the calc is with leftovers, but you can see it doesn't even hit 50%, so even without leftovers you are able to deal with an HP Fire Life Up Thunderous. So that's really cool. So then some other electric types you are kinda able to deal with are the following. So here you have Specs Magnezone. You can deal with Specs Magnezone if it's not an HP Fire or HP Rock variant. Life Up Magnezone, even with HP Fire it's not able to two-shot you. You can pack the coverage of HP Ground because you know they have a Magnezone on that team, and you can just one-shot them back. Jolteon has Volt Absorb, but Bug Buzz does a lot to it, and Jolteon just doesn't get the right coverage for you, so you can kind of deal with Jolteon. Heliolisk, you take Life Orb Hyper Voices from Heliolisk, which is also really cool, and again Bug Buzz does really a shit ton to Heliolisk, so that's really cool. Some other electric types you are kind of able to deal with are Alolan Raichu. You hit it super effectively with Bug Buzz. Raikou, but Raikou can set up some Calm Minds on you, so keep in mind for that. Rotom Wash, you can pack Energy Ball for it, and its Hydro Pumps doesn't do that much to you. Rotom Mow goes the same way. You resist Leaf Storm, you resist this electric step, so you can deal with it. Electros, you are also kind of able to deal with it. And then there's one of the new ones, one of the Ultra Beasts, Xurkitree. You kind of deal with Xurkitree, but Xurkitree does get Tail Glow and it can just set up on your face. It takes 60 to 75% from a non-invested Bug Buzz, I believe. So you do a shit ton to it, but it can still set up a Tail Glow on you, and then you can be in trouble. So keep in mind of that before switching Vikavolt on it. So now we've covered the fighting types, we've covered the electric types, so some notable steel types. I've already talked about one Ultra Beast, but there's one other Ultra Beast that has a crazy high attack stat. I think it's 181, so you think, okay, that's going to hit like a truck, but Vikavolt is able to deal with it. This is Katana. Katana is a grass steel type, and its main stats are grass steel, and that's both resisted by Vikavolt. So as you can see here, if you run max attack even with adamant nature, and it's a 109 speed stat, so most often than not you would not even run adamant. You can see here that a Leaf Blade is a 4-hit KO. That's really nice. And its strongest move to hit you, and it might not even pack it because it maybe needs coverage or something, is Return. And as you can see, with leftovers, even a max attack adamant Return from Katana is not a two-shot. And Katana is grass and steel, that's pitiful defenses, so pack that HP Fire and you just one-shot it. So you can really deal with it, because this also means that after a Swords Dance, if it packs Swords Dance Return, it has a decent chance to kill you, but if it packs Swords Dance but no Return, it has no chance to one-shot you, meaning you can one-shot it back with HP Fire and you can deal with Katana in every way possible, which is really, really cool. So then some other notable steel types I wanted to mention are Ferrothorn. Has the same typing as Katana, so you resist its dual stabs, and you can just go for HP Fire, which still does a ton because of your high special attack stat. And then you have both versions of Scizor. From regular Scizor, you are able to take 2 Choice Banded U-turns. That's really, really great. And HP Fire one-shots it back. Mega Scizor is a bit of a different story. It can run bulky, it can run offensive. If this is offensive, if it's offensive with Swords Dance, it might be able to break you, it might be able after Swords Dance to like 2-hit KO you and take 1 HP Fire. If it defensively, it doesn't have enough damage output to two-shot you. Even after a Swords Dance it cannot, so you can reliably deal with it, because even max 2 HP Fires take it out. So no SD or bulky SD Scizor, Mega Scizor, you are able to deal with it. Offensively with SD might be a different story, but still you are able to take it on quite nicely, which is again quite a nice job it does. Some other mons, one of the new mons, Alolan Sandslash, you are able to deal with it. Even with Rock Slide, it can two-shot you. This mon is also really nice switch into Skarmory, which is really cool. Metagross is really a mon you also see quite often in League format. Metagross needs to run Rock Slide, needs to run Adamant, then it doesn't really need a boosting item, but then it has a 20% chance to two-shot you. So it has to run Adamant with a boosting item, with Rock Slide, to be able to two-shot you reliably. That's quite an accomplishment. Jirachi is Jirachi. Let's just not talk too much about it. Then Klefki, this mon also deals quite nicely with Klefki. Why? You're immune to Thunder Wave. Klefki's stabs doesn't do really much to you and you can reliably kill Klefki. Then one of the other new mons, that's Celesteela, also steel and flying type. So you do super effective damage on it and you hit it really hard, but keep in mind that Celesteela has faster speed and it gets a move like Fire Blast. Wouldn't one-shot you per se, but it does shit ton damage, so look out for that if you decide to switch in your Vikavolt on a Celesteela. Then the last typing I want to cover are grass types. Again, I will highlight one grass type out of it, and this grass type is Superior. Superior can be quite a threat to your team if you don't have a reliable switch into it. So you can see here the calc for max special attack, life up, Superior, Sleep Stone. As you can see, it's a possible 5-hit KO. Doesn't do much against max Vikavolt, but it gets a +2 boost after that first Leaf Stone. So if an HP Fire, keep in mind, does more than the second Leaf Stone would do. So a +2 max special attack, life up, HP Fire does 60 to 67%. This is a 2-hit KO, but keep in mind, if you count those numbers together, then it doesn't add up to 100, meaning you can take the first Leaf Storm, you can even take an HP Fire after, and you have a 70% chance to one-shot the Superior with Bug Buzz if it has no HP investment. So you are quite reliably able to deal with Superior. So that's also a nice accomplishment. Then some other notable grass types you have. You will see them here, especially the first two. Tangrowth, it has some coverage for you, but most of the time Bug Buzz does really a shit onto it and you are nicely able to deal with it. Celebi, even with something like Ancient Power, it doesn't really deal well with you and you can just one-shot it with a Bug Buzz. Then you have some mons like Whimsicott, you can also kinda easily handle it and take the hits of them. You have mons then like Among Us, you have mons like Goregeist to an extent, but especially Mega Venusaur and Goregeist, Mega Venusaur and Among Us, you kind of have a stall war against them. They are not per se able to two-shot you, you are not able to two-shot them, but they can toxic you and then win that way. So most of the time you can switch in on them, but then you also have to volt switch out on them because you can't really touch them. Keep that in mind if you decide to go up against the Mega Venusaur with your Vikavolt. Some other notable grass types, some of the new ones, Serena for example, you are easily able to deal with it. Dhelmise is another story, it's a ghost grass. So if the opponent runs an offensive Dhelmise with something like Rock Slide, it's easily able to deal with you. But keep also in mind, Dhelmise doesn't have recovery, so if you are able to get it on the switch, you are able to deal with it. Unfortunately, Tapu Bulu is a bit too strong for you. You are two-shot by a Choice Bandit, Woodhammer. Unfortunately, well, I think it's a roll due to the grassy terrain, but it also has things like Mega Horn and Stone Edge, so it would be able to deal with you. So don't switch it in on the Tapu Bulu. So that's everything I wanted to cover about this mon defensively. So I've covered now its offensive roles, its defensive roles, and now I think before wrapping up the advantages and disadvantages of Vikavolt, I want to suggest some partners for it. So I think before getting to one specific mon that could pair with it, the general role of the partners are one of the following. Hazard removal. As I mentioned, hazard removal is key for Vikavolt. If you run an offensive wall breaker variant, you don't want to take stealth rocks every time you come in. If you are a defensive Vikavolt, you don't want to start at 75% of your health, because most of the time then you won't be able to take 2 hits of the mons you normally would take 2 hits from. So hazard removal is really key for Vikavolt. I can't mention that enough. Then frail, strong hitters. This is if you run Vikavolt as more of a bulky pivot, maybe even the wall breaker variant. If you volt switch out, and Vikavolt most of the time will take the first hit because of the slow speed, and then volt switch out, you get a slow volt switch so you can bring in one of your strong, maybe even frill hitters, because you have already taken the hit with Vikavolt, and the strong hitter can then come in and go to town. One of the other things are physical threats. Vikavolt really poses a big special threat, and if you have some physical threats with a special threat like Vikavolt, this can really together destroy the opponent's team. So those three are really some nice partners, especially hazard removal is really important. So I thought I would leave it at that, but I was thinking a bit, and there was one mon that came to mind that is a really nice pair with Vikavolt, and I think in league format, after the tiers are formed, after the point system is formed, those two will form like a really, maybe a budget pair even. It's a mon that in league format some people think, okay, it's really nice, it can do a lot of things. Some people say, okay, it's straight up garbage. I'm a bit between them. I don't think it's the best mon there is, but I also don't think it's just hot garbage. And that mon is Empoleon. So what does Empoleon do for you? It gives you hazard removal, which is really key and really great, but also defensive synergy. Empoleon is able to resist the rock typing, which you are weak to, is neutral to fire, which is nice, but opposingly, Empoleon is weak to fighting, you are able to resist fighting. Empoleon is weak to ground, you are immune to ground. So those two can really have some really great defensive synergy, and Empoleon can be the hazard remover you need for Vikavolt. So that's why I thought those two together are a really cool pair. So then to round off this video, I will just list one of the advantages and the disadvantages, and then think where Vikavolt may end up in the tiering systems. So first of all, the advantages of Vikavolt is its special attack stat. It has a really great special attack stat. Being able to two-shot really a lot of things, most of things even, is really great. 145 is nothing to sneeze at. And then for the offensive capabilities, it's really nice that it has agility, because that means it can also be a sweeper. And then for the defensive roles, it's really nice that it has roost. Reliable recovery is really key if you want to be a bulky mon. So those three are like the main advantages of Vikavolt. Then the main disadvantages, and I have mentioned them already quite often, that's its speed. Most of the time you may want to look at a speedy electric type for your draft, and then Vikavolt is just not the mon for you. 43 speed is really bad. And then its blistering stealth rock weakness, meaning its offensive and defensive capabilities are really hurt. So those two are really the disadvantages of Vikavolt. And then my projected place it will get in the tiering system. I think if you look at JBA tiers, I think it would be placed in, I think, tier 4. I think tier 3 it's not up to it, but I also think tier 5 might be a bit too low. If it ends up tier 5, it might be a steal, I don't know, but I think tier 4 is a really nice placement for it. And then if you look at the point system, I've worked with some point system drafts in Gen 6 and I really love them. I think it will be around 7 points. If you look at, I think I mainly looked at like the PPL point system, because they are the original ones. So I think around 7, maybe 6 points I think is best for Vikavolt. So yeah, that's it guys. This is the tier placement for it. I hope you learn a lot about Vikavolt in this video, and also hope you might try it out in a league in the future. If you do, just hit me up, because I'm really curious how it will actually do, because still league format it's happening right now. We are currently experimenting with everything, and it's up to this point it's just all theory money. So I hope to see you guys next week with a new mon. If you have a mon that you really want me to cover, one of the new mons preferably, leave a comment down below in the comment section. Also, if you enjoyed the series, leave a like, and if you have some additional comments for me, maybe some tips or something, just also down in the comment section, or PM me if you know me. That's it for now guys, and I hope to see you next week. Bye.